Good evening, or maybe good morning if you are seeing this video in the beginning of the day. I have to turn off the music. Well, I'm Luquitas Montes, and I keep reading this book, The Climb, uh, that is about a man who likes climbing. So I didn't use a comb with my uh, hair tonight. Well, I can remember the last chapter that we read. Let me see. The Real Holland was the last one, chapter 4. Yes. At the last chapter, I think that I'm going to put the video here. I'm not sure. But at the last video, we figured out that Mr. Holland is not his real name. He was a climbing man, but he fell from a mountain, I think, and he changed his name. So now the people don't know who is he or what happened to him. Well, now we're going to read the chapter 5. The name of this chapter is Mr. Vitalis' Plan. Mr. Vitalis is the name of the owner of a big house who also buy expensive pictures in the store where Eleni works. Well, let's start. David Asken sat next to the window of the villa. He was looking through his binoculars. He could see Eagle House across the shaped beach on the other cliff top. He could see the high electric fence on three sides of the garden. Yes. He could see the tall metal gates that opened onto the cliff road. Gates that were only opened by a switch inside the house. Mr. Vitalis knows how to keep people out, Asken thought. There is only one way into Eagle House, and that's from the cliff side, up Eagle's Rock. He was right, but can I do it? Can I make the climb? David Asken's first meeting with Mr. Vitalis was in England, a month earlier. Okay. They look each other. They know each other. Asken was working on the bar of the hotel where Mr. Vitalis was staying. Mr. Vitalis saw him and knew his face. You were a climber, weren't you? Mr. Vitalis said. That's right, Asken said. But please don't say anything to other people in the hotel. I told nobody here. They hadn't guessed who I am. Only you know I was a famous climber. So, why are you working in a bar? Mr. Vitalis asked. Because I need money, David Asken told him. I needed a job. I see, Mr. Vitalis said, and he watched Asken thoughtfully for the rest of the evening. The next night, he spoke to David Asken again. I need money too, Mr. Vitalis said. Perhaps I can help you, and you can help me. Asken was surprised. How? He asked. Do you think you can make one more climb? Mr. Vitalis asked. Asken began to shake. No, he said. No, I don't. Not even if you are paid a lot of money, Mr. Vitalis said. Then you can stop working in bars. Why do you want to pay me a lot of money for a climb? Asken wanted to know. And then Mr. Vitalis told Asken about the paintings in the Eagle House. Some of them are worth many thousands of pounds, Mr. Vitalis said. I want somebody to steal them, and then hide them for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I want them back again. David Asken began to understand. And you will get the money from the insurance company, he said slowly. Very clever. Then you will sell the paintings. I get money from them twice. Very clever. You'll sell them to somebody who has other stolen paintings. Somebody who will keep his mouth shut. I've heard that there are people like that. He smiled. How is it? You don't need to know, Mr. Vitalis said. You'll get the paintings out of the house. Then you'll hide them until I want them. You don't need to know what happened after that. David Askin looked at Mr. Vitalis for a long time. Then he said, tell me about the house. What's so special about it? Why do you need somebody who can climb? So Mr. Vitalis told him about Eagle House and Eagle's Rock. It must look real when you rob the place, he said. And nobody can get in over the fence or through the metal gates because of the burglar alarm. The police will be able to catch the robber before he can escape. The only way is it up the cliff. So you need somebody who can climb Eagle's Rock. Somebody who can get into the house that way, said Asken. And somebody who will keep quiet because they need money. Somebody like me. Mr. Vitalis smiled. Yes, he said. Asken thought for a minute. How will I get out of the house with the paintings? He asked. Through the metal gates to the road, Mr. Vitalis said. You can switch off the alarm and open the gates from the inside. Then you can leave that way with the paintings. Asken looked thoughtful. Will you do it? Mr. Vitalis said. I'll pay you well. I don't know, David Asken said. I'll tell you before you leave the hotel. Asken didn't sleep well that night. He had bad dreams and woke up 2 or 3 times, but 3 days later he spoke to Mr. Vitalis again. I'll come to the island and look at Eagle's Rock, he said. I can't promise anything until I've seen the climb. Alright, Mr. Vitalis said. And I shall want half the money when I arrive, Asken told him. Agreed, Mr. Vitalis said. A great deal. That was a month ago. Now, David Asken sat in the holiday villa looking at Eagle's Rock. It was between the White House and the beach. Steep and dangerous, Asken thought. Money, that was the problem. He had to have money to buy a business. A shop, perhaps. The money from Mr. Vitalis was enough for that. He couldn't write books since the accident. and he couldn't keep other jobs. I can't work for other people, he thought. I know that now. I have to be the boss, but that takes money. Most of Asken's money was gone now. The books stopped selling after he stopped climbing. Nobody wanted to buy a book by a climber who didn't climb. I'll have to make this climb. One last climb, he told himself. There is no other way. Then I'll have the money to buy a shop or a small company. Asken's hands began to shake. He looked back at Eagle's Rock. No, he said after a minute. I can't do it. He picked up the phone. Vitalis, he said, when somebody asked. Yes, said the voice at the other end. Who is that? It's David Asken, Asken said. And Mr. Rizali said, I can do it, Asken said. Mr. Vitalis became angry. But you must. You have to do the job. My company's lost money and I've lost money in other ways too. I need a lot of money quickly. And I pay you half, as I promised. I left it in the newspaper in the cafe. And I'll send the money back to you, Asken said. There was a silence at the other end. Then Mr. Vitali said, listen, perhaps I can pay you more when I have the insurance money. More money? Asken said. Yes, Mr. Vitali said. I'll pay you another 10,000 pounds. Another 10,000, thought Asken. That will solve a lot of problems. Exactly how many thousand of points are his painting worth? So, what are you going to do? Mr. Italy said. I don't know, Asken told him. Give me a few more days. I'll decide. Alright, Mr. Italy said. 2 days. No more. I can't wait for longer than that. Asken put down the phone. He looked back at Eagle's Rock. Another 10,000 pounds. Was he able to do it? Such a good question. I hope you enjoyed this video. And you can see the next chapter. I think that maybe the next day of tomorrow. I don't know. But have a good night and see you in another video. Bye bye.